Welcome to Xi Jinping briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Xi Jinping will visit Serbia this year, says its leader Vucic. China starts the Lunar New Year with an economic hangover. Leadership psychology of China's Xi Jinping. Trump's creepy Putin relationship a threat, former PM. U.S. Chamber chief visits China in sign of warming business ties. Xi Jinping will visit Serbia this year, says its leader Vucic. South China Morning Post. Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit Serbia this year, according to his Serbian counterpart, Aleksandar Vucic. The trip was confirmed during discussions with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Serbia has fostered close ties with China in recent years, signing a landmark free trade agreement in 2021. This visit will be the first confirmed stop on Xi's first post-pandemic trip to Europe, after months of speculation. China starts the Lunar New Year with an economic hangover. Foreign policy. China's economy is facing significant challenges in 2024, including a property market downturn, mounting debt, declining consumer confidence, and sluggish global growth. The property market, which has been a key driver of economic growth, is experiencing a decline that threatens to unsettle economic actors and impact local governments. The government's focus on technological upgrading has led to an economic strategy that neglects domestic demand and relies heavily on industrial policy. The result is likely to be disappointing GDP growth and a struggle to shake off deflation, while technology-intensive sectors thrive. China's economic recovery will depend on property market stabilization, household consumption recovery, improvement in the external environment, and restored confidence in the economy. Furthermore, tensions with the United States and disruptions in global supply chains pose additional risks to China's economic recovery. The Red Sea crisis, in particular, has disrupted shipping routes and raised shipping costs, which could further impact Chinese exporters. Additionally, elections in over 70 countries, including major economies such as the United States, Russia, and India, could change the global business environment and market landscape for Chinese companies. The Chinese government's current policies, focused on national security and technological upgrading, are contributing to the economic malaise. The emphasis on industrial policy and supply-side measures neglects the need to unlock domestic demand and address structural issues such as the collapsing property market and growing local government debt. The government's reluctance to deviate from its current approach and implement meaningful reforms makes it difficult to solve these challenges and achieve sustainable economic growth. Leadership psychology of China's Xi Jinping. Diplomat. Xi Jinping's leadership psychology can be characterized as rational, ruthless, and resilient. He is a formidable and often underestimated leader who combines his personal narrative with aspirational objectives for China, such as the Chinese dream of great rejuvenation. Diplomats and dignitaries who have met with Xi describe him as polite, restrained, and a good listener. However, Xi's exceptionalism and belief in the primacy of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, may be blind spots in his decision-making. He may underestimate America's resilience, as well as exhibit cognitive rigidity as he ages. Despite his ideological rigidity, Xi has shown pragmatism and flexibility in his response to challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic and tensions with the United States. Xi has cultivated relationships with global leaders such as Russia's President Putin and North Korea's Chairman Kim Jong-un. However, these relationships are primarily driven by China's national interests, with China being the stronger partner. In regards to Taiwan, Xi has repeatedly stated that reunification will occur, peacefully or otherwise, but he is unlikely to impulsively invade. Instead, China may use various government approaches to isolate Taiwan. Xi's leadership style and response to challenges will define both his and China's legacy in the 21st century. As China asserts itself globally and counters America's influence, it is important to understand Xi's psychology and governance outcomes. Trump's creepy Putin relationship a threat, former PM. ABC. Former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has warned that Donald Trump is a terrifying threat to democratic order due to his embrace of autocrats like Vladimir Putin. Turnbull stated that Trump and parts of the Republican Party are sympathetic to Putin and are no longer committed to democracy as it is understood. He also expressed concern about the future of American democracy and the impact it would have on the global stage if Trump were to win re-election. Turnbull served as Prime Minister during part of Trump's first term and observed his admiration for Putin. U.S. Chamber chief visits China in sign of warming business ties. Bloomberg. The head of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Clark, is visiting China this week to meet with American businesses and Chinese officials, in a sign of improving ties between the two countries. Clark will be accompanied by former U.S. Trade Representative Susan Schwab. The visit comes as Washington and Beijing work to stabilize relations following a meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in November. U.S. companies have expressed optimism about China's business environment, though many are still hesitant to invest. Clark's visit coincides with the annual appreciation dinner of the American Chamber of Commerce in China, where Chinese Vice President Han Zheng is expected to be the guest of honor. Russia looms over yet another Trump presidential campaign. Washington Post. Former U.S. President Donald Trump's close ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin have raised concerns among world leaders, national security experts, and even some Republicans. Trump's admiration for Putin and other authoritarian leaders, including Xi Jinping of China, Viktor Orban of Hungary, and Kim Jong-un of North Korea, has led some to question his motivations. Some experts suggest that Trump simply likes dictators and strongmen, while others argue that he genuinely shares a similar governing philosophy with these leaders. Trump's embrace of Russia and reluctance to help Ukraine has raised concerns about the future of U.S. foreign policy and its impact on NATO and the transatlantic alliance. Critics argue that Trump's comments empower Putin and other U.S. adversaries, while allies are left wondering about the future of U.S. global leadership. China cannot count on a policy reset if UK PM Sunak loses. Nikkei Asia. The UK's relationship with China has become more complicated since former Prime Minister David Cameron drank beer with President Xi Jinping in 2015, which marked the start of a new era of Sino-British relations. The UK has had 8 foreign secretaries and 5 prime ministers since then, and the Chinese government has repeatedly criticized the UK for its short-term policy thinking. Both the Conservative Party and the Labour Party have criticized China, and the latter has said it would conduct a review of relations with China if it wins the next election. China names Dream Vessel spacecraft it hopes will take astronauts to the moon. CNN. China's space agency has announced the names of the spacecraft that it plans to send to the moon in its manned lunar mission by 2030. The spaceship will be called Mengzhou, or Dream Vessel, the lunar lander will be called Lonyue, or Embracing the Moon, and the carrier rocket will be called Long March 10. The craft are part of China's broader plan to establish itself as a leading space power and become the second country to land astronauts on the moon. China has already successfully landed unmanned missions on the far side of the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world, here to bring you the latest news and analysis. Today, we discussed a range of topics, from President Xi Jinping's upcoming visit to Serbia, to China's economic challenges, to the leadership psychology of Xi himself. We also touched on the concerns surrounding former U.S. President Donald Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin, and the improving business ties between the US and China. Lastly, we explored the complexities of the UK's relationship with China and China's ambitious plans for its manned lunar mission. Let's dive into the analysis. President Xi's visit to Serbia signifies the close ties between the two countries, as China continues to expand its influence globally. However, China's economy is facing significant challenges, including a property market downturn and mounting debt. These challenges, coupled with tensions with the US and disruptions in global supply chains, pose risks to China's economic recovery. Xi's leadership psychology, characterized by pragmatism and resilience, will play a crucial role in navigating these challenges. Speaking of leadership, former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has warned about the threat posed by Donald Trump's embrace of autocrats like Putin. Trump's admiration for Putin and other authoritarian leaders raises concerns about the future of American democracy and its impact on the global stage. On a more positive note, the visit of the head of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to China signals improving business ties between the two countries, following the meeting between Biden and Xi. Moving to the UK, its relationship with China has become more complicated, with criticisms from the Chinese government and promises of policy reviews by political parties. This highlights the evolving nature of international relations and the need for long-term thinking. Lastly, China's space agency has announced the names of the spacecraft it plans to send to the moon as part of its ambitious lunar mission. China's aspirations to become a leading space power and land astronauts on the moon reflect its determination to expand its technological and scientific capabilities. In conclusion, these news stories highlight the complex dynamics of global politics, economics, and leadership. As observers, it is important for us to stay informed and analyze these developments to gain a deeper understanding of the world we live in. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts. What are your ideas and opinions on these topics? Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.